Hey, Christ Freedom. Welcome again to our month of mission, day 3. Hopefully you've been able to track alongside of us as we're putting out these videos every day just to encourage and equip us to continue living as mission versus mission being an activity. And that's actually what we're talking about today, is the difference between seeing mission as an activity we engage in versus mission as core to our identity as followers of Jesus. We've been hitting on that theme a bunch recently, but would love, Robert, just to unpack a little bit for us more about what we mean by mission as identity.
Yeah. Church, I just get excited about this particular concept. Mission in general gets me really excited. But as we process mission as identity, I think there's some things that we often may need to unlearn. And in unlearning things, I think we need a right biblical perspective of what mission is as identity to help us to untrain our minds around maybe a false theology or doctrine around mission. And so, y'all, I love what Paul writes in 2 Corinthians chapter 5, verses 19 and 20. And so I want to just, conclude verses 19 instead of reading the whole thing. This is what it says at the end. It says at the very end of verse 19 in 2 Corinthians 5 that God entrusts to us the ministry of reconciliation. And what I love about this word entrust is that it actually means that God has established something within us. That we have been established as the people of God, the followers of Jesus Christ, with the ministry of hope, with the ministry of reconciliation, with the gospel of life, by faith in Jesus Christ. And then Paul goes on in verse 20 to say this, that therefore, because of this entrusting of the ministry of reconciliation, that therefore we are ambassadors. Hey, y'all say ambassadors.
Ambassadors.
Hey, and so we are ambassadors for Christ. That's identity. We're ambassadors for Christ. Identity, God is making his appeal through the people of God because he has established us with the ministry of reconciliation. Y'all, that's weighty. But what does ambassador mean? And so in ancient times, ambassador pretty much meant 3 things. And the first was, it meant that you were commissioned by the one that you represent. So you were commissioned by the one you represent. The second thing is that you are a representation of the sender. And the last one will make me run a lap up in this room, meaning you walk in the authority of the one who sent you. That we are commissioned. Not only are we commissioned, but we are a representative of the one who sent us. And then we walk in the authority of the one who sent us. And so as I think about identity, church, this is identity for the people of God. That God has entrusted to us the ministry of reconciliation, that's who we are. He has established us by faith in Jesus Christ to be ministers of reconciliation. And so we are commissioned. Not only are we commissioned, but we represent Jesus Christ. And in representing Jesus Christ, we walk in the authority of Jesus. Like, let that read your heart right now. Like, let that read your mind. I am commissioned by Jesus as an ambassador. I represent Jesus Christ as his ambassador. And because of that, I walk in the authority of Jesus Christ as a follower of Jesus Christ. I think that's enough for us to be mobilized to really establish this identity of mission. And so when I think of activity in light of the biblical call of the identity of mission, activity can often be something that we do. We can cut it on and cut it off. We can schedule a trip here, come back, and maybe not do another trip for another 6 months. I'm not saying anything is wrong with that, but what do we do day in and day out? Activity is often this light switch mentality of mission. But here's a thought that I have. In light of the changing environment of this world, if mission was merely activity, then as the world is growing more and more hostile to the things of God, as the doctrine that we live by and have committed our lives to, as the world begins to rub up against this doctrine of the Bible, I believe activity can often sort of be diminished if mission is an activity. If we see mission as an activity, when things get hard, we can shut down, cut the light switch off. But think about the disciples. The disciples of Jesus Christ, mission for them was identity. Because as the world became more and more hostile to Jesus, they crucified our King. as the world became more and more hostile, as Jerusalem, Judea, and Samaria began to take Christians and martyr Christians, it only mobilized the disciples all the more for the mission of God, because mission wasn't an activity, it was an identity. Meaning, this is my life regardless. I'm about to preach. This is my life regardless of what happens around me. Like, this is who I am regardless of the hostility that comes before me. This is who I am. I am an ambassador. Mission is my identity. I can't cut it on and cut it off. You want to know why? Because Jesus didn't get off the cross. And so because Jesus stayed on the cross of Jesus Christ, when Jesus stayed on the cross of Jesus Christ, he didn't get down. Because he knew that his mission was to set the captives free. And so, church, I believe our mission as ambassadors, God making his appeal through us, is to set the captives free. And what a great entrusting that the Lord has given us, that this is our identity and not an activity.
That's good, man.
Woo!
Yeah.
Let's go.
In the power, I think, of that shift from 2 Corinthians doesn't say, act like an ambassador sometimes. It says we are ambassadors. And when that becomes identity, it leads to all kinds of activity. But it radically changes how we think about mission. So that's so good. So again, every day we want to talk and then also look at how this practically works itself out. And so what are some of a couple implications, a couple practical takeaways from everything we just talked about?
Yeah, I have 3. And so I think the first is missional identity exists with integrity. Meaning, because we don't cut it on and cut it off, that if my identity is mission, then the first thing I'm thinking about is that at the core of who I am, I'm mission. So mission exists in my home. Mission exists behind closed doors where no one ever sees. And so I think the first implication of this is I really need to adopt a mindset that my identity is mission and it exists behind closed doors first. Because if I'm gassed up behind closed doors, if I'm praying behind closed doors, if I'm in the Word behind closed doors, if I'm helping to establish an ecosystem of mission in my home behind closed doors, it's only going to flow out when I get outside of my home. So the first implication is mission identity exists with integrity, meaning when no one is watching me, I am mission. And I think that's the first implication. The second implication is every day, similar to what you shared in the video I think yesterday, is every day I want to adopt the mindset that I am an ambassador, that I am commissioned, that I am called to represent Jesus Christ, and that I walk in the authority of Jesus. And I think if we adopt that mindset, again, who knows what the Lord will do and how God will desire to use us. And then thirdly, I think actively praying, processing, and practicing mission, that we are actively forming ourselves in community where we are praying about mission, we're consistently processing, I'm processing how I can meet my neighbors, or I'm processing how I can, just be a blessing to someone when I go get coffee, and then I'm actually practicing living out my life on mission.
That's good.
Yeah.
Well, this has been super helpful, church, and again, we're going to keep talking about mission as identity versus only activity. And so prayerfully, God will continue to make that shift in our hearts happen. And thanks for setting and teeing that up. And we're excited to talk more in the days ahead, continuing about mission. So hopefully we'll see you guys tomorrow.